Nirvana was the first band I was ever in, and same with Kurt Cobain. And we started Nirvana in about late '86, early 1987, and we had a series of drummers before Dave joined. Dave joined in 1990. We just loved to play music, and Kurt Cobain was very artistic and expressive. He was always drawing, painting, making music, writing songs. He wasn't interested in like playing cover music, or he had ideas of what he wanted to do musically. And he had this very, it was a natural gift. He was a true artist, and he was expressive like that. And then something about the way that he could do his vocals and play his guitar, and the imagery that he would write connects with a lot of people, even to new generations to this day. That's how
Dude,
profound
I
his
see a
talent was.
Nirvana T-shirt on the street just about every single day. So you've definitely touched multiple generations. So you guys are rocking out as young people in the late '80s. Dave Grohl joins the band in 1990. And then I think it was '91 that "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is on my TV
Yes.
screen on MTV.
Yes.
Like, how did you guys get on, or what was it like when you shot that first video? How did you guys get signed? Any of that jazz?
Well, the so-called alternative music, or the new wave of music, was coming around in the late '80s. And there was a time when there was no rock record in the top 10. And so there needed to be a reinvention of music, which rock and roll music tended to do. There were bands that led the way for us, like Faith No More and Jane's Addiction, and they were on FM radio. And they showed that there was a new kind of rock music coming. And so Nirvana in 1991, we had recorded Nevermind, and it was our second record. We released the record, and it just went viral, and that was before the internet. And so it was on the radio. It got added on radio stations all over the country, and our video for "Smells Like Teen Spirit" was on heavy rotation on MTV. So there you had it. We just kind of hit it. And then with that, that opened the floodgates for a new sensibility, a new kind of music where rock and roll reinvented itself. It was the grunge scene. There were great bands in Seattle. So when we first started speaking about like young people with shared needs and values in Aberdeen, Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle. Then we would go on tours and connect with people all around the country, these little scenes. There was this music scene in Seattle, and that's where we came out of. Like, we just didn't do it by ourselves. There were clubs. There were Sub Pop was a record label. There were radio stations, a college radio, that were playing us, and local magazines and local media that were promoting us. So like, we certainly didn't do it by ourselves. We came out of this community. Nirvana ended in 1994. Kurt died. And so Dave went on to do Foo Fighters, and I got involved in Seattle politics. So that's how I got in, like, my road led to the Forward Party here in 2024. And there was the teen dance ordinance in Seattle, where there couldn't be any all ages shows. If you were an adult between the ages of 18 and 21, you couldn't go to those small scale shows to see like these bands that are.
It was like real life Footloose.
It was like Footloose. Yeah. Yeah. So I started to get involved with that and advocate for more inclusive music industry. The Washington legislature, there was a harmful to minors bill. It was initially called the erotic music law, and that was censorship. And basically, they were promoting an adult section of like the record store or adult record stores, because if the music was deemed harmful to minors, then it had that stigma of like pornography. So we fought that, and along the way, I got my civic education. And I learned about how the system works. I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill. There's that cartoon.
Sure, Schoolhouse Rock, man. We all know, at least people of our generation know it.
that's the level where I came in. And I also learned about like the election systems and like the reality of elections. And so like we'd have some really bad opponents in the legislature who would want to censor the music community. And so I would naively say like, well, we should run somebody against them. And they'd be like, oh no, Chris, they're in a safe seat district. They win with, they don't even have an opponent. And I'm like, well, why is that? And I would go online and I used the Alta Vista search engine. That's where I was. And this was like 1995, 1996. And I would key in search terms like election reform, voting in elections. And I discovered I'd just get one group. And there was this group called the Center for Voting and Democracy, which went on to be Fair Vote. So, and then what are these ideas? Like it was called instant runoff voting, which we call ranked choice voting now, and proportional representation. Like we can do this in America.
You've been trying to create real choice for people by having ranked choice voting and more open systems for years. And so when you go in there now, like you almost know too much. At least that's the way
I've learned a lot. I was with Fair Vote, which is a really policy oriented group. Now it's coming back because there needs to be a new era in American politics. And it just boils down to the voting system. And it's really easy. You just fill out your candidates and you rank them in your order of preference. And then people will criticize ranked choice voting that the counting is complicated, but it's not.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time a new episode drops. Thank you.